Hey, welcome to The Explainer. What we do here is take some of the best expert insights out there and break them down into a clear, visual playbook you can actually use. Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating Stanford lecture from two huge names in AI, Andrew Ng and Laurence Moroney. Our goal? To build a solid playbook for your career in this crazy exciting field. And the feeling coming from the very top, it's just pure optimism. All right, first things first, let's set the stage. Because honestly, the opportunity right in front of you, it's way bigger than you probably think. We are, and I mean this, truly living in a golden age for builders. So check this out. According to one pretty fascinating study, the power of AI is doubling at this incredible rate. Just think about that for a second. Every 7 months, the complexity of tasks AI can handle doubles. That means it's tackling problems today that were literally science fiction just a year or two ago. Okay, but here's where it gets absolutely wild. When you look at coding specifically, that doubling time, it shrinks from 7 months all the way down to just 70 days. I mean, the pace of progress for the actual tools you get to build with it's staggering. So what does this all mean? Well, this breakneck speed means you have more powerful tools at your fingertips than ever, period. You can build software faster than anyone in history. And that radically shifts what the most crucial skill is. It's not just about pure engineering anymore. It's about product vision. The biggest challenge is no longer how you build something, but figuring out what you should build in the first place. Okay, so if it's this amazing golden age, you might be asking, why does finding a job feel so darn tough right now? That's a great question. So let's get into the reality check and take a hard look at the current job market. So Laurence Moroney laid this out perfectly. He basically described the last few years as a total roller coaster. First, you had the pandemic slowdown. Then that was followed by this frantic overhiring boom where, every single company was scrambling to be AI first. And all of that has led to where we are today, a big market correction where companies are just being a lot more careful. Yeah, this whole landscape can seem pretty intimidating, right? So it brings up the biggest question probably on your mind right now. Should you be worried? And the answer, honestly, is a clear no. You shouldn't be worried. The opportunity is absolutely massive. But, and this is a big but, only if you're strategic about it. Just riding the hype wave isn't going to get you a job anymore. Those days are over. All right, so let's actually build that strategic playbook. What we've done is pull the core advice from both Andrew Ng and Laurence Moroney, and it all focuses on what really matters in today's environment. Okay, so success in this market really comes down to three main pillars. First, you've got to have a deep understanding, not just of the academic theory, but also what's happening in the real world, the actual industry trends. Second, you need a relentless focus on business value. What you do has to matter to the bottom line. And third, a bias for delivery. I mean, ideas are cheap, right? Execution is everything. At the end of the day, you just have to build stuff. Now, here's a really crucial piece of the playbook. You have to choose your environment wisely. And listen, this is not about the company's brand name. It's all about the team. The people you surround yourself with day in and day out, that is what will determine how fast you learn and how much you grow. And they shared this cautionary tale that just illustrates the point perfectly. There was this top student who joined a super hot AI company, right? But he wasn't guaranteed a spot on a specific team. And guess what? He ended up stuck on a Java back-end payment system, completely sidetracked from his AI goals. He was gone within a year. The takeaway here is so important. The team is always more important than the logo on the building. And look, when you finally get to the interview, you have to remember this. They're not just hiring a coder. They're choosing a teammate. It's so critical to show you have a solid technical backbone that you can defend your ideas. But man, there is a very fine line between having a backbone and just being a jerk that nobody wants to work with. So all of this really points to a crucial mindset shift. If you really want to stand out from the crowd, you have to see past all the hype and the buzzwords. You need to become more of a trusted advisor, not just someone who writes code. A core concept here is something called technical debt, and it's a great way to think about things. Basically, every line of code you write is like a loan. You have to pay it back later with maintenance, bug fixes, and support. So your job is to be like a good financial advisor for the company. You want to take on smart, good debt that's a good investment and avoid that reckless, bad debt that's just going to cause a huge mess down the line. And this mindset, it applies to everything, even the super hyped up topics like agents. Instead of just throwing that buzzword around in an interview, you can show your real value by breaking it down into a clear, logical process. It starts with understanding the user's intent. Then you make a plan. You use the right tools for the job. And finally, you reflect on the result. It's not magic, it's just good engineering. Okay, let's move into our final section here. Let's see how all these pieces fit together and build towards the future of the industry. Because trust me, a pretty major shift is already underway. What's happening is the AI world is basically splitting into. On one side, you've got what you could call big AI. These are the massive frontier models like GPT, Gemini, you know the ones, from the big labs. But on the other side, you have small AI. We're talking about smaller, self-hosted models that can be fine-tuned for very specific tasks, and critically, they keep data private. And it's that second category, small AI, where there's just this huge, underserved potential right now. So if you want to thrive in this emerging small AI space, it's going to require a very specific set of skills. We're talking about the ability to fine-tune models, to really understand privacy-sensitive industries like medicine or finance, and to deploy AI directly on device. And doing all of this without having to rely on those giant, super expensive GPU clusters for every little thing. So as we wrap things up here, the big takeaway is this. The tools are here, they are more powerful than they have ever been, and the opportunity is absolutely massive. Right now, the world has way more ideas than it has builders. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build?